Hej. Vi har haft glæden af at have Frank Spear på besøg i København de sidste 4 år, hvor han har holdt nogle fantastiske kurser med meget stort klinisk udbytte for dem, der har været med på dem. Det skulle egentlig være slut nu, men Frank er selv kommet på den idé at lave et helt nyt kursus for sit danske publikum omkring failures. Og det er jo et tema, som man normalt ikke rigtig ser belyst, når det er, man er på kursus. De her failures, dem kan man jo inddele i 2 hovedgrupper. Man kan have de failures, hvor det de steder går galt med det, man har lavet, noget der knækker, falder af eller går i stykker. Men så er der dem, som er lidt svære at håndtere, og det er de failures, som man kalder for perceived failures. Og det vil sige, de fejl, hvor det ikke er noget rent fagligt, men hvor det er, at man ikke får indfriet patientens forventninger til den behandling, der er gennemført. Og de kan være meget sværere at håndtere end de andre, fordi de andre, der er det bare et tilfælde om at lave det om igen. Så de 2 dage, Frank Spear kommer den 16. og 17. juni i Tivolis Kongresscenter i København, der vil han så bygge det op omkring alle de her failures, altså både de perceived og så også de rigtige failures. Hvordan man skal håndtere det, hvordan man kan undgå det, og hvordan man kan gøre, når det så er gået galt. Også de her opfattede fejl fra patientens side, fordi man ikke indfrier deres forventninger til behandlingen. Så der er lagt op til endnu 2 dage i Frank Spears selskab med et rigtig stort udbytte, som man kan gå hjem og bruge på klinikken med det samme mandag morgen bagefter. Forhåbentlig har vi ikke så mange failures, men når det går galt, så er det jo rart at have nogle værktøjer. Så jeg håber at se jer alle sammen på Tivolis Kongresshotel den 16. og 17. juni. Indtil da, ha' det godt.
Hi, I'm Frank Spear. I'm recording this video actually to share with you that I'm going to be back in Denmark again this June. You know, I've had the greatest experience of having spent 4 out of the last 5 years. I've been there for 2 days each time, and the audience has always been great. The food's great. I love being in Copenhagen. And so I'm going to be coming back for the 5th time in 6 years this June. In past years, we've talked about a number of different topics, from occlusion, worn dentition, integrating minimally invasive techniques into more complex cases. Last year we talked about interdisciplinary aesthetics and creating interdisciplinary treatment plans. And this year we're going to be doing something that I think will resonate with virtually all clinicians, is we're going to talk about clinical failures. And clinical failures are, one of the more frustrating things that we deal with in practice. And if it's somebody else's failure, it's not quite as hard on you. But if it's your own failure on your own patient, that's a whole different story. So we're going to walk through basically how to predict the highest risk patients for failure, how to potentially prevent failure in those patients, and then how to manage failures if they do occur. And we're going to talk about patients with simple clinical issues all the way to patients with more complex clinical issues. We're going to basically be addressing the same content for all of them. How do you predict it? How do you prevent it? How do you manage it if it happens? And, a big part of it is going to be talking about something I like to call, is it a real failure or is it a perceived failure? There's a significant difference. And so a real failure, you and I all know, is the porcelain fractures. That's a real failure. A perceived failure is we do something and somehow the patient is not happy with the results. And yet we look at it, and when we evaluate it, it seems fine to us. And so we're going to spend a fair amount of time initially talking about the differences between real and perceived failures and how you talk to patients to minimize the risk of having them. We're going to break it down into talking about aesthetic failures, functional failures. So we're going to talk about who are the high-risk patients occlusally at risk of failure, and how would you change their occlusion to minimize that risk. And we're going to talk about structural failure. Structural failure is failure of either teeth or restorations. And again, how do we minimize that risk? And then we're going to talk about biologic failures. And biologic failures could be pulpal, they could be soft tissue, they could be bone. And so we're going to cover all of those topics, but we're basically going to have the same theme throughout, which is what's a real failure, what's a perceived failure, how can I manage it in advance to minimize the risk of happening in my office. And so I'm really looking forward to coming back again. We've always done it in October before, so it's going to be fun to be there for me in June. And I hope to see you all there. Thank you.